Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're mapping out the massive shifts in artificial intelligence that really crystallized around July 20th. We're cutting straight through the hype, you guys. We're going to see how the AI industry is rapidly, and I mean rapidly, moving way beyond that basic conversational chatbot phase. Instead, they are placing these massive, defining bets on sheer physical infrastructure and structured data.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, the AI Model Mirage. Second, the sovereign hardware wall. Third, the data and regulatory reset. And finally, security and real-world risks. Let's dive right in.
Section 1, the AI Model Mirage. We're churning right through the chatbot phase. So, let's start with what the public actually sees. Right now, models like Moonshot AI's Kimi K3 are just absolute behemoths. We're talking 2.8 trillion parameters. That is a staggering scale of complexity that requires immense computing power just to turn on. It recently rattled the US industry by topping major coding leaderboards right alongside the stable release of DeepSeek V4. But here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. These massive models, they're really just the glossy software layer. It's literally just the tip of the iceberg, and enterprises are starting to look much, much deeper.
That brings us to Section 2, the sovereign hardware wall, the physical reality of compute. Let's pivot away from the software for a second and look at the gritty physical reality beneath it all. At the recent Jeju Forum, SK Group's chairman Che Tae-won confirmed a monumental shift in perspective. Securing physical AI memory, it's no longer just a standard supply chain headache. Foreign governments are actively treating it as a matter of state-level economic security. The actual physical chips running these models are the new strategic global resources.
To really understand the scale here, consider this stark warning from the chairman. Customers are demanding a staggering 60 to 100% surge for AI memory by the year 2027. And the chilling part? Absolutely no single company currently holds the manufacturing capacity to meet that surge. The physical limits of our hardware manufacturing are basically colliding head-on with our AI ambitions.
So how are state actors applying new technology to overcome this hardware wall? Well, Huawei's Atlas 950 SuperPod provides a really detailed instruction in scale. By clustering 1,024 Ascend neural processing units and utilizing a massive 256 terabytes of unified memory, essentially pooling all these components together so the entire system thinks as one giant brain, Huawei is claiming 6.7 times the performance of NVIDIA's NV144. This right here is the blueprint for building a sovereign AI fortress.
That specific Huawei cluster delivers a mind-bending 1 EFLOPS of computational power. Think about that. That's 1 quintillion operations every single second. This represents the sheer, heavy-duty physical infrastructure and the massive internal restructuring required to actually compete on a global scale today. Simply put, if you don't have this physical hardware, you don't have a moat. Period.
Let's move on to Section 3, the data and regulatory reset, moving beyond unstructured chat. You know how standard, everyday chatbots are trained on just messy, unstructured internet text? Well, SAP's massive acquisition of Prior Labs, the pioneers behind TabPFN, signals a complete shift. They are betting that structured, tabular data, think thousands of interconnected spreadsheets, financial records, and logistical databases, is actually enterprise AI's true untapped goldmine. The goal here isn't getting an AI to write a poem. It's getting it to instantly analyze a decade of highly structured corporate data to optimize a global supply chain. And SAP is backing up this structured data shift with some serious hard numbers. They're committing over 1 billion euros across the next 4 years to build a frontier lab exclusively dedicated to tabular foundation models. €1 billion. That level of investment tells you exactly where the smart enterprise capital is flowing.
Meanwhile, the regulators are hitting the reset button hard. The EU's Digital Markets Act is actively targeting the structural moats of giants like Google. By January 2027, Google literally has to share anonymized search ranking data with competitors. And by July 2027, they face a strict deadline for Android AI interoperability, meaning voice activation and cross-app access has to be opened up. The era of closed, proprietary data pipelines is being forcefully dismantled by legislation. Which brings us to our final section. Security and real-world risks. What happens when commercial guardrails completely fail? Let's look at how this impacts high-stakes fields like healthcare. The new Rattly 2.0 benchmark exposes a truly terrifying flaw. Leading AI models are frequently what we call confidently wrong. They'll spit out an incorrect radiology reading, but deliver that misdiagnosis with zero signal of uncertainty. No warning whatsoever.
This is incredibly dangerous because it entirely defeats the human safety net. If a human doctor isn't warned that the AI is unsure, that error becomes a massive liability.
In academia and publishing, we're seeing major detection risks too. Epoch AI tested AI text detectors and found that up to 18% of style-imitating AI-generated text completely bypassed leading scanners. Almost 1 in 5 AI passages just slipped right through undetected. This poses a severe systemic risk for universities that are blindly treating these commercial detectors as foolproof evidence.
But guys, perhaps the most striking failure happened in cybersecurity. Teams over at Hugging Face faced an actual AI-driven intrusion. But when their security team tried to analyze the attack using standard commercial AI models, the safety guardrails actually blocked them. The commercial models were so heavily restricted that they refused to look at the malicious code. They actively blocked the good guys from analyzing the very attack they were trying to stop. Unbelievable, right? This alarming failure forced the team to pivot immediately. They actually had to switch to an open weights model, specifically GLM 5.2, where they had full control over the system just to diagnose the intrusion. This proves, without a doubt, the absolute necessity for accessible, open-source infrastructure in high-stakes environments. You simply can't afford for a commercial AI to tell you no when you're actively under attack.
So this all brings us to our final provocative thought. If you lack physical hardware sovereignty, if you're locked out of the AI memory supply chain, and if you do not have a grip on your structured, tabular data, is this shiny, new conversational chatbot actually relevant to your enterprise anymore? The shifting moat tells us the answer is a resounding no.
Thank you so much for exploring this vital explainer with us today. The landscape is shifting fast beneath our feet, so make sure to ring that bell and subscribe to AI Vanguard AI to stay at the absolute cutting edge of industrial AI. If you found this synthesis valuable, please like, comment, and share. Keep learning, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you in the next one.